John Lusk here of Lusk Archery Adventures. Series testing, successful hunting. Today I'm going to be testing the G5 Megameat. Okay, that's a funny name. I've tested the dead meat before and it performed fairly well. So now I'm going to be testing this really wide cut Megameat thanks to a viewer who donated me a pack. Matter of fact, the way he did it, I really appreciate. He asked me, he said, hey, is there a certain head that you've wanted to test but haven't been able to yet? And I said, yeah, the Megameat. So then like within a few days, a pack arrived. He sent it. Thank you very much for that. And so let's zoom on in here and go through some of the design features and specifications, and then I'll put it to the test using all the tests that I'm doing for 2021. And mechanicals, I don't test the flight because they all fly, really well, honestly. But I use all the other tests that I do on mechanical heads. And for a description of that and all my testing process, read about it in the description box below this video if you're not familiar with it. So again, let's zoom on in here and check it out. Oh, and I do want to say that for the test, I'm using my Bowtech SR6 set at 72 pounds, and I'm using Bishop FOC King Arrows for most of the testing, but then I use the Bishop FAD Eliminator for the hard impact, the zero penetration test into the concrete. Here's the Megameat 100 grain 3-blade crossbow version. Now it's a crossbow version because my friend sent me that to test. And that just, I think the difference is just the retention clip. It holds them a little bit more securely, but it still works fine out of a vertical bow, and the broadhead itself is identical to my knowledge. It's all steel construction, the tip and the ferrule and the blades all steel. The way that the blades are held in place, if you're not familiar with the dead meat or the Megameat, you can check out a lot of my reviews on the dead meat. I tested that way early on when I first started doing broadhead reviews. Is the blades are held by this little retention clip here, and that's replaceable, and they snap in place, which is nice. You know that they're in place because you'll hear a little snap and like a little pop, and they stay in place very securely even through a crossbow. And then upon deployment, they push back like this and they deploy to a whopping 2 inches of cutting diameter. Okay, that's a lot, 2 inches. So the total cut with 3 blades and 2 inches of diameter is a 3-inch cut. So that's gonna leave a mark for sure in an animal. So if you're looking for a really big cut, this is something to consider. Now the blades themselves are not very thick and they're really long and not very supported. Okay, they're not supported at all at the end. So I'm a little concerned about the durability of these heads. But I know they're gonna fly great. I tested the flight of the dead meat quite a bit, and any mechanical really should be flying great. So let's put this head to the test and see how it performs. $150. It penetrated 5 1/4 inches. $200. It penetrated through 43 layers. Here's the head after one shot into the MDF, and it lost a blade on that first shot. It just stuck into the MDF. It didn't even make it all the way through. And you can see that it broke off at that little pin that holds it together. The other blades got pretty jacked up as well. That's kind of rare for the first shot into MDF. The tip held up fine. Again, it's just one shot, okay? I would expect it to hold up fine. The blades did not fare so well. Here it is after impacting the concrete, and you can see the ferrule got a bit bent. You can see that wobble. But the tip, this is all one piece. Here's the head after impacting the concrete. You can see the ferrule got a bit bent, and you can really notice it there in the wobble. But it didn't break, and the tip got fairly blunted, but still stayed intact. I wondered what was going to happen on the zero penetration test like that. And you know, it did relatively well for a mechanical. The blades were kind of a non-issue because they never really impacted the concrete at all. So what did you think of the Megameat? You know, you check out the score sheet. I'm going to post it here right after the conclusion of this video, and you can see how it did in the areas that matter to you the most and compare it to other mechanicals. Certainly has some great strengths to it. You saw that the zero penetration test and the sharpness, the flight, the full opening, the rear deploying blades, those are all great strengths. But it has some considerable weaknesses as well. The blades are really pretty weak. And the hole tends to shrink. The blades tend to retract as they go through a medium. They don't totally close up, but they also don't stay in their fully open position. So, you know, it's a decent head. I'm sure it'll get the job done with a good shot. And maybe if you're, you know, shooting a smaller animal, like a smaller deer, or you know, a turkey or something like that, maybe it's a head that's worth considering. But honestly, overall, I just think it's pretty average.